Google Plus can be a very valuable tool for sending search traffic to your videos. Today I want to give you guys a couple tips for using Google Plus to really maximize Google Plus's full potential in gaining you new views and subscribers. That's coming up. Hey guys, my name is Tim Schmoyer and it is Tuesday, which means it's time to take a look at some online video news from last week and talk about the implications that it has for us as creators. And a lot of things actually happened in the online video industry last week, but only a couple things that are really important for you guys as creators to really know about. And the first one is, if you know, a couple weeks ago, if you maybe remember that we talked about how YouTube is changing how it's doing some advertising here, and hopefully that's gonna make more money for all of us. But the gist of it is that YouTube is selling premium ads against the top 5% of YouTube channels, giving some extra bonus perks to advertisers who pre-buy packages on those channels. And so now we know actually what those top channels are. And it's actually the top 1% of Google preferred channels on YouTube. If you want to see a full list of all those channels, it is in a post that is linked up below this video here on YouTube. And the thing that's interesting about these channels is when I mean by top or preferred channels, it's not just whoever has the most views and subscribers, but they actually went through and took the channels that have the most engaged audiences and have the most advertiser-friendly content in several different verticals. And the cool thing about that as a creator is that apparently you don't really need to have 16 billion subscribers in order to be preferred. Some of these channels actually have much smaller audiences, but they're very targeted in the demographic that they're reaching, and the type of content that they're creating is very advertiser-friendly. So if you want to be one day maybe included in Google's preferred top 1%, or maybe you're watching this and you already are, it's very important to keep in mind who is your target audience, who are you trying to reach with your videos, and are your videos drawing those people in, building a community, getting them engaged and active? Do they trust you? Do they know you? Do those people like you? And is it very easy for an advertiser to say, yes, that's the type of content I want my ad showing against? As a general rule of thumb, whether or not you agree with it or not, that usually means eliminating profanity from your channel, not having any sexually explicit content, drug use, anything as violent or graphic or just anything of those natures. Advertisers usually don't want to be associated with those types of things. So something to keep in mind. So let's jump into Google Plus. I know we have talked about this several times in the past, and I have told you guys that Google Plus is like a gold mine for views from search results. 40% of the social traffic here at Video Creators comes from Google Plus. In past videos, I've also told you that sometimes when I take one of my YouTube videos and I post it to Google Plus, that post on Google Plus actually, with the video, actually outranks the actual video itself in search results. Now, the 40% statistic for me makes sense because my target audience, everyone who's in my target audience has a Google Plus account and is active on Google Plus if you want to have a YouTube account. So those stats make sense for me, but everyone can and should be taking advantage of the search traffic that Google Plus can provide for you. And in the description text below, you'll find an article to Moz.com that gives you 10 tips and tricks for how to leverage Google Plus when you share content on that platform. So if you want to dig into any of these and more of them in detail, check out that link below. But there's a couple that apply specifically, I think, to us as creators. And the first one is to use headlines on Google Plus when you share your content there. So when you share your video on Google Plus, give it a title and start and end it with asterisks, and that will make the text bold. And then go ahead and write some text describing the video right beneath that. Now, I think it's the best practice. I don't have any proof on this. I'm just kind of speculating here that it's probably best if you give it a different title and a different description in Google Plus than you were giving it on YouTube. While I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with just copying and pasting over the same title and the same paragraph that describes the video onto Google Plus, I think if you really want to take advantage of the SEO implications of this, it's probably best that you give it two different titles and two different descriptions using the same keywords, of course, but I would probably just change it up a bit. Another tip is to actually write longer content on Google Plus. Here on YouTube is not uncommon just to write a couple sentences, maybe a paragraph describing the video, and here that makes total sense. But on Google Plus, maybe you want to consider writing a couple paragraphs, or maybe writing entire quote blog posts or something to go along with your video. Google will take that information. It's very valuable. It helps to understand what the video is about, but also it can attract more people that actually want to engage, actually read what this is about, and then maybe even go and watch your video. But for the people who don't watch your video, they will still then spend more time on your post, and the more engagement you get around that, like, the better. Another tip that Moz suggests is not just sharing your videos to the public circle, but actually tagging individual circles, and they say that this will then also send a notification to those people in Google Plus, letting them know about your content, which is awesome that they let you do that, but you have to use that very sparingly, right? Like, you don't want to come across as spammy to anyone. I think the way it works is that you have to have circled them and they have to have circled you. Like, it has to be like a mutual circle thing for the notification to go through. So that's helpful, but still, don't tick off the people who have circled you. And then there's also another box right below that is super powerful, and that lets you send an email notification to those people as well. Again, use very sparingly and only for very important posts that you really need to promote. Another tip is to make sure you're using hashtags with your posts on Google+. Now, most of us are familiar with how these work on Twitter. On Google+, they work a little differently. Yes, you can click on it and it will, just like Twitter, go to a listing of all posts that have that hashtag. But Google also uses those hashtags to kind of figure out what your content's about, and it can start building relationships between different hashtags depending on how different people are using them. So maybe they didn't use the same hashtag, but they're using something similar, and Google now starts to know that these posts are related to each other. There's several other really good tips in this blog post on Moz's website, so the link for the whole list is in the description text below. You can click that and go check out the rest of them. One of the things that I like to do with Google Plus with my video creators page is actually circle back everyone who circles the video creators page, because then what I like to do is once in a while I will just go to the feed of video creators and just see what are the other people in this community up to. Like, what are they doing? And sometimes I'll just +1 stuff, sometimes I'll leave a comment, and sometimes just the act of circling people back, people are like, oh, like, Tim circled me back. That's kind of cool. So there's a little bit more of a relationship built there, but especially then when I go back and start commenting and +1ing on just random people who are in the video creators, community, who are out there publishing videos, and that I love just seeing what you guys are doing, and that's like a really good way for me to just kind of see what's going on without having to like subscribe to everyone, because that's a lot harder for me to go through and subscribe to everyone's channels than it is for me just to circle everyone back on Google+. Any of the rest of you who have ideas for how you're using Google Plus with your YouTube channel, leave those as comments below. And the rest of you guys, if this is something you're interested in, you want some other ideas, and hear what other creators are doing with Google Plus, make sure you go down there and read those comments. Always really good, helpful, valuable things down there. And if this is your first time here, I'd love to have you subscribe. Every Tuesday we do just what you just saw here. Talk about online video news, talk about the implications it has for us as creators. Tomorrow on Wednesdays, we give you guys some YouTube tips, ideas, suggestions, and some training advice to really help you guys out. And then on Thursdays, we'll do some YouTube Q&A with you guys as always, because I really do believe that a lot of you guys have messages that could really change people's lives if the people who need to hear what you have to say could just find you and hear what you have to say. So thank you for letting me be a part of helping you guys build your audiences, build your YouTube channels and your communities here on YouTube. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.